I was listening to the story about, it was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the Cowboy Man. And he had, apparently it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
His father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses. It would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse, trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hind quarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the dirty. Skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
Hello, how is everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the new year. As you can see, it is me, myself, and I, because Wayne decided to go to a basketball game. Very unprofessional, but he's having a good time. I'm just kidding. I don't care. He's having a good time with his dad and his brother. And he deserves it. It's his very first time at that arena. So we'll cut him some slack. But we have an amazing show. And I am so excited to get into this. So let's get all this done. If you are new here and have not subscribed to this channel, or if you're listening later on the replay and have not subscribed to this channel, please do that. We would greatly appreciate it. We are moving in the right directions with our numbers. We just need to go get a little bit more. We are also, if you would like to be on this show with us as a guest, or if you would like to send us your encounter stories to read, you can send them to Wayne at paranormalworldproductions.com or myself, Tiffany at paranormalworldproductions.com. I really do enjoy reading those encounter stories. So if you want to be a guest, reach out to us, or if you have an encounter, reach out to us. Also head over to paranormalworldproductions.com. That is the main hub for all of our shows. It's a laundry list of them, and we all need your support. So head over there. And I know you guys are going to have questions because of the topic that we're going to talk about. So, but because it is me, myself, and I, please put these in all capital letters. I would appreciate it, and I will grab them. If I happen to miss them, throw it up there again, and I will grab it from you. I also wanted to tell you that we have our super chats are open, as well as our $1.99 membership. We have free shows every week and always will, but the membership allows you certain perks, and it's only $1.99. So I am not going to kick the dirt anymore, so to speak. And as you can hear, I'm kind of stuffy because I do have a head cold, but the show must go on, and this one is going to be killer. So let's bring out our esteemed, affable guest, Mr. Bobby Dizzle.
Hey, Bobby Dizzle's in the house.
That's right. We are
backstage having some FOMO.
I'm excited to get this going. Let's see who we have in here.
Got Roger Williams in the house.
Yeah. Sandra Piper, Troy, Brian is in here.
You got Ristal. Some of my fans are here, or listeners, not fans. I don't have fans.
Wayne's here. He said,
Yeah.
Sup, my homie. Sorry, I'm missing y'all tonight. Be good to our girl. Aw.
I told him we'd make him proud.
He said he's having a good time with his bro and his dad. I'm glad I can do this. That gives him that break.
He's walking down all those giant hills at UT to get to that basketball campus. You got to go up a mountain and back down.
Right.
That's what Rocky Top's about. It's about walking on that dang campus. You get a heart palpitation walking on it.
Right.
You can fly. You ain't got bulldozers? Just staircases randomly placed. It's like the back rooms over there.
Exactly. And Wayne said y'all show some love with the super chats, which if you're on Facebook, it's not there. You have to be on YouTube to do the super chats. But if you look at the little comment bar, there's a dollar bill beside it. Donations would be helpful to keep going what we're doing. So I know you. I've been on your show before. And even though I know you, I also, as producer, I dig and do research and homework. But whoever is watching now or may watch it after the replay, who may not be familiar with you, tell us how you got your start and what it is you do.
Well, I started off, I had it called the Bobby Dizzle Podcast, and it was about everything. I had stand-up comedians on. I had war veterans, had a World War II guy on one time. That was interesting. And just anybody. I had a guy that once lived in Germany. That's like one of my taglines. Well, and one time a guy actually lived in Germany. We just talked about Germany for an hour. But, podcasting is you double down on what works. And the paranormal thing works. People flock to it. And what works even more than paranormal is Bigfoot crap. And so that's how I ended up here. I just I niched down. I I workshopped a name for a few months and I came up with that. I call it the Caffeinated Cryptid with Bobby Dizzle Podcast, or the Caffeinated Cryptid Podcast. Yeah. And it's almost like fate drew me to the topic. Like I wasn't trying to be a Bigfooter. I don't consider myself a Bigfooter. It's just something I like to talk about. Like it's like somebody that likes watching Marvel movies.
Yeah.
That's me. I do have like a tendency to believe, and I'm not like a skeptic and just laughing at everybody. I do love the stories. And I've loved the subject matter since I was about 7 or 8 years old, maybe 10, 1993 or 4. I bought a book at a book fair called The Scariest Stories You've Ever Heard. And one of them was the Sasquatch. The other one was the hook on the door and the babysitter that calls from inside the house.
Yes.
Yeah, I think my mom still got that book in her house and I cannot find it. I've been in the attic till I couldn't breathe looking for that book. I'll never forget reading it, and I became obsessed with it. And just my whole life, it's been kind of there. So it's not hurting me to talk about it. Yeah. If it pops off and it's a career, oh no, I'll get to hang out in the woods and talk to cool people. Not that, please, no. I met Roger watching Holler. He's like best friends, people I never would have imagined I'd meet. Like you, I think you're like one of the instant best friends I call him. I'm sure Wayne will be that way if we can get him to take that orange off. But I mean,
I ain't touching that one. That's it. You're and Wayne thing.
It'll be fun. We'll have a good time. He'll ban me forever. I'll never. This is how I get canceled.
No, we can't do that.
Tennessee, you'll have the last lap. So take that, fat boy. But yeah, that's how it happened. I just became something I like talking about, and I kind of doubled down. And that's if you're starting a podcast, what if something works like gangbusters? Just crank it down. And I'm starting another one on another channel about kind of my fitness journey. And I'm going to see what I'm going to apply the same thing there. But I think that one's already got 3,000 subs just about. And so,
well, you go.
Yeah, that one. I think I can spin some of those people to this channel, and kind of just make it have two monetized channels at once.
Hey,
but we'll see. For right now, I'll talk about Squatchy stuff and coffee, because I got like I showed you my new coffee mug. Believe in yourself.
Yeah. I am digging it.
Roger said fitness whole pizza in my mouth.
It's so funny that we're talking about that, because I'm telling you, look, after I quit my job earlier this year, we were talking about it. I don't eat any more than I used to. Okay. But also do not walk as much as I used to.
Yep.
Because when you're a writer and when you're a podcaster, you sit down. And that's just what you do. So I get it.
You know, You can tell me inappropriate if you want, but do you participate in like the gummies or the greenery being a podcaster since you don't have a job anymore?
I do not. I just research and write.
Because the moment that becomes green light for me, it's over with. I'm Snoop Dogg. I'm just saying. But not until then. Not until then.
Not until then.
I'm Snoop Dizzle.
You're Snoop Dizzle.
It'll be a much different podcast then when that happens, but not until then.
That's hilarious. The choice that I'll do above.
Yep. I'll probably hate it. I'll probably stop. I'll do it once. I'm like, man, that was terrible.
Yeah.
I fall asleep on camera. Okay, enough of that.
Be like, wake up. So let's get into this big bag of woo. Because it is
like a hornet's nest.
Yeah, let's kick it. And I'm going to tell you, I have not received any hate mail. So if anybody has any hate emails about this show, please send it to bobbydizzlecast@gmail.com.
Yeah. Please, or go to bobbydizzle.com and subscribe there and complain in the comments. I'll respond to each one of them personally. Like a Civil War soldier writing home to Martha. Dearest Martha. Every comment.
So that's the encounters and send Bobby the hate mail.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really controversial topic. And so many people want to stray away from this side. But when you're a good researcher, you have to look at everything. Even the out of the box, off the wall, everything. So what stories have you heard? I've read an article that was written about you this past October.
Oh, horror addicts.
Yes. And
that's my boy Lionel.
Well, he did a really good job on the article.
Mm-hmm.
And I had actually read it a couple of times just to have it ingrained in my brain for the show. But you were talking about in that article, I think his name is it Randy Bauer?
Yeah, Randy Bauer from Black Duck, Minnesota. Yeah.
Because you were saying, all right, so you had done this 7-panel podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys were talking about the Bigfoot and the UFO connection, which incidentally, on that Bigfoot podcast, we did that same show where we discussed it. But on that show that we did, there was a gentleman at the end who had said that there was an orb floating in the woods and it all of a sudden turned into a possum. And I was like, it's a really big ask. But then I read that article with you where he had said that he had seen orbs and they turn into Bigfoot.
It's kind of floated down and started crunching.
Yeah.
It's the craziest story I've ever heard.
Yeah. Well, could you tell it? Do you remember?
Yeah. Well, he was there with 2 or 3 people, and I talked to all 3 of them. And I even had them on the show, I believe, his friend John and the book writer Michael Quast. But yeah, they were on a tree stand. It was, it's been about a year since he told me, but I can pretty much recite it. About 11 o'clock at night, I think. It was dark. He said it was like an elevator door opened up in the woods and the northern lights came out. Just rainbow lights and stuff. 2 orbs came floating out and they got close to the ground, started crunching. It reminded me of a Field of Dreams. You know how they like a reverse, how you just see nothing and all of a sudden the feet start going. He said it started crunching and they walked over to a gifting area, grabbed some apples and maybe some peanut butter. There's always peanut butter in the gifting area. No one knows why. But and they walked back, started floating again. The orbs were crunching as they floated away, and then back into the orbs portal it went. And
that is insane.
At least 2 to 3 people saw it, and they've all told the same story.
Well, see, that's when it gets hard to deny. That's when, and we talked about this with Emma Steverson and John Baranchuk, the psychological aspect of it, where society would say, okay, well, that would be considered a mass hallucination or something roundabout there because it was more than one person. But I just think I just think it's fascinating to hear those accounts, but so many of them get shot in the dirt before. And
I've heard that BRO redacts all the woo-woo stuff in their accounts and hides those stories. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
That's a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, because it doesn't fit the narrative. because they want it to fit into what they see it as or what they think of it as. So it doesn't fit their narrative. So it's done away with. Or I think it was you and Carter Bashard had talked about that, where people were like, why is this happening? Why is he taking all this out?
Yeah, he said he took like redacted. They even had a forum for it that was just specifically for that. And it was called the gray forum or the blue forum.
Mm-hmm.
And it was for all those stories that had the woo in them.
Yeah.
Why would you want to, if you really want to make this stuff, if you really want to prove it real, why would you hide like half the evidence about it, even if it does sound weird?
Yeah. And that's the thing, is it doesn't fit their narrative. And so, and I told you before the show, I did 3 pages of notes today on different sections of what I could find. And I don't know, we have 45 minutes. We might be able to fit it all in. But spoiler alert, you're coming back on the 24th of February.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
we'll return.
Yes. So
like
we
Megatron.
Yes. Troy said, and then I'll get back to it. Troy said, I've heard the same. They don't want anything to distract from being flesh and blood. It's supposed to
I don't understand that either. Why are they so hung up on flesh and blood? I tell you the difference in the people who are woo-woo and flesh and blood. The people who are woo-woo have seen Bigfoot. Flesh and blood people have not. Either that or they've seen it near a campsite when it was flesh and blood.
Right. Miss Jessica.
Here's Jessica.
How are you? Yes. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, and that's what I was, it just, and people are so funny to do that because like I said, it doesn't fit the script in their head, so it's dismissed. But if you look at when Jessica came in and reminded me, so when you research and you have all of the supernatural woo aspects, do people look at remote viewing in the same light as it being part of the woo? I'm honestly asking because I don't know.
It's weird because like I'm almost speaking like it's a spectator myself, because there's people that are in the chat right now have done more research than I have. Like I don't even know why I'm here, other than the fact that I just persist and get on shows for no reason. I'm like Alex Jones. I just show up here. Yeah, Jessica is like the Troy Aikman of the researcher in the comments, but I think it's. I don't know why it stops. Like you got your aliens. Why am I doing my hands like this? I'm on Ricky Bobby. You got I'm gonna do it with my hands. But you got like your aliens and your ghosts, and those are okay to do crazy shit. But you the moment you tweak the dial over to Bigfoot, it's like oh that's a monkey.
Yes.
And I'm like, why are you so hung up on this damn monkey? Like, what if it's not? What if it is, but it's like another evolutional direction that. Maybe they evolved some other kind of features.
Yeah, well, it's like
in
the research that I did,
Roger.
There's 3 camps. You have the scientific mind. So Bigfoot is flesh and blood. That's all Bigfoot is flesh and blood. And then you have the camp that Bigfoot is an interdimensional being who can go from place to place. Therefore, it's not easy, that way they can remain mostly undetected. And then you have the UFO connection where people are saying that Bigfoot is an alien. So you have all these camps, and it's just like, if it's not flesh and blood hominid, it's dismissed.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because there's more evidence of people seeing them do crazy stuff than not.
Yeah,
you got like Randy Bauer I go back to him. He's like, I'm like living vicariously on Randy's coattails, but he's got the story that he walked to the other end of his property with a group of people, saw a teepee, and no, it walked to a new teepee, looked at it, walked to the other end of his property, saw another teepee that he didn't know was there, and was videoing. He got back and it was the same teepee, but they made him think they were like 100 yards away. And he went back and traced the snow tracks, and they had not doubled back.
That's crazy.
And he said it's the freakiest thing in the world. He said it messed him up for a few days. And the IR cameras that capture like the motion detection, he said he saw one on his cell phone pop up, like a full frontal Class A sighting. He's like, Terry, his wife's name is Terry. Terry, come here, look at this. And the picture got removed from his phone. Like just that
I
That
read
shit
about
I can't
that.
sleep thinking about that. That keeps me up at
No,
night.
that is so funny because I read about that.
Fried squirrel.
And it was
Oh,
talking about, I think it was in with the UFO stuff that I
Skinwalker,
researched.
same stuff.
Yes. But I was looking, I had found, and I can't remember the website, so I didn't get the works cited page. But it's talking about Peter Leeson studied the connection closely. When you list the top 10 states for sightings of both, 6 occur for Alaska, Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, Washington, and Oregon, where people see Bigfoot in conjunction with UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
And I had seen the thing where it said that they try to almost like implant screen memories. And that's what you hear talked about with UFO and aliens or thought implants.
And you lose time with each of them. Why would you lose time with a hidden monkey?
Yeah, if it were just if it were just an ape, how would that happen?
Unless the only explanations I've heard are from people who I really respect, D.A. Roberts and Robbie Raines, and they bring up the infrasound from tigers, and I think something else does it. And they also think the echolocation is a tree knock, or tree knock's an echolocation.
Yeah,
and they can go into caves really quick, but that's the only explanation that I've heard of that remotely covers down. But you still got people who are losing their phones, get messed up, the batteries get drained. That's it's like across the board.
Yeah, and that's always been my thing. Like before I did this, and I was working, listening to you guys. It's something that always piqued my interest because you hear about them near telephone poles and then again, like all the electronics and stuff like that getting messed up. I mean, is it just their electrical, whatever that's doing this?
Roger Squatching in the comments, he has a theory that, or hypothesis that maybe what was it? He goes, why is there no cell service where Bigfoot are? Do they cause the loss of service, or do they flock to places without it because it irritates them? It's interesting because if you look at the Verizon map it almost lays over the popular Bigfoot sightings, like the national parks. Obviously, the places way out there don't have cell service, and so maybe it's an interesting correlation. You can put a pin in an interesting category.
Yes.
I don't think they're causing the lack of service, but maybe they go there because it doesn't piss them off as much.
Right.
Maybe it's like being in getting an MRI to them. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
They don't like that 5G. They can't like the 5G.
Well, and two, it's like I've heard that the reason they stay away from trail cameras is because they can sense that little red light. It emits some kind of sound. And
well, I've got tons of pictures of trail cameras myself. I can pull them up now, but it'll take me a minute, of the deer looking right at them.
Yeah.
So if a pot of chili can see the thing and know it's there and it's doing something, whatever interdimensional being can definitely know it's there, because deer can sense it, and they're not doing it. That thing's not doing anything. It's a line that's not. If they can sense it, that other things can. I'm sure they can.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, what is your opinion on the telepathy?
I think it plays right along with it. I think it's possibly in the fourth dimension, what I'm going to call behind the veil, wherever everything lives. They may all have the same kind of technology, and telepathy is just one of them. Yeah, because it's all because the Skinwalker Ranch has the same phenomenon that Randy's had at his place. Jessica's buddy Glenn, our buddy Glenn, has had the same phenomenon happen and just mess them up. You get a headache, you lose time. You hear it from everybody. Hasn't happened to me yet, but I haven't tried hard enough. But
right,
Roger's got an interesting telepathy story, and it freaks me out a little bit to hear. But it all goes together, I guess. If you can do lose time, it goes right along with telepathy.
Well, see, because people dismiss the telepathy, where they're like, well, how do you know that's not your own thought? But Les Stroud experienced it when he was out.
A lot of people have. I mean, it's almost universal to anybody that does anything more than like a garden variety campsite sighting.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that just, they stay in a place and they see the eye shine and they see rocks thrown at them. And of course, they think they're just flesh and blood because you're just dealing with basically an animal at that point.
Right.
They've came down right to your level. Basically, they're on your vibration. But as soon as it walks away, where does it go? They can't. You find one footprint in a half a mile, and where does it go?
Where does it go?
Yeah, just they find one footprint. Where did it go?
Well, and I get that sometimes, like Brian had talked about how on his property he had one footprint, but then nothing. And then he was saying that was because the substrate on the opposite side was a little bit harder or denser or whatever to leave the second one. But it's like when Zach saw what he did here, it took off. He heard it run through the woods, but where does it go? It has nowhere to go without being seen.
Just out of sight and then disappeared.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's a good story Zach has.
Yeah, it's a good story.
It was black and fast.
It was black and fast and gone. Yep.
He said it was effing big.
Oh my goodness. But it makes you wonder, okay, so is this something like, are there portals around us that we can't see like every time this happens?
Yeah, like and how do we know that there's just not a way that there's not a portal, but basically that's just what we call it a portal, but it's basically something just they can do.
Yeah.
Like we call it a door, but like an ant might think, oh my God, they just moved the wall. Like, what's just a door? It's something we use, but they can just step in and out. Like, you ever seen Dogma? With and those the demons take that, I can't think, or hockey stick and rip the space time and step into it. I mean, it's probably something like that. They can just come back and forth. They can probably operate stuff outside of it, like Homer Simpson and his gloves. Yeah, without having to come through.
Yeah. So what's weird to us is not weird to them. It's like their second nature.
It's going to sound bad, but I can't wait to die and figure it out. I don't want to die yet. Like 60, 70 more years, but I can't wait till I get the Q&A. I'll have notes. Right. I'll bring my notepad with me. Really? That was that the whole time. Okay. I knew it.
Get out of here.
Get out. I'll be like Elaine Seinfeld. Get out. No way.
Right. It is. And there's just so many things. And then that's what I was going to bring up is the telepathy where people dismiss it. But you go down, and I've said it to you twice already, but it really is a spiraling staircase because one rabbit hole leads to another. So with the telepathy, I was like, okay, so if they can use telepathy to communicate with humans, how do and people dismiss it. So then I started looking, I was like, okay, well, how do other animals communicate with each other other than visual, scent, or cues, body cues. And so then I got that answer by it came up as telepathy as well. And then I was like, okay, so then that brings you into the animal communicators. I didn't go all the way down that rabbit hole because that's a whole other thing. But it was just one thing after another after another.
You can't tell me bees can't reach others' mind.
Right.
You telling me them shaking their little bee asses is how they tell you where all the nectar is? They get that. What do they tell you in school? They get down there and they do a little dance.
Yeah.
That's not how. Yeah. No, man. It's a hive mind. They all go in one spot. It's telepathy. It's there. I wonder if there's like a flesh and blood or woo woo bee group. I bet like some kind of subculture, some kind of like bee cult somewhere down there that like says, no, they have read minds. No, it's just a little bee dance. Just makes you wonder, like they've got to be like fish do it. Fish do the school.
Yeah.
The hive mind. I mean, bees have to have some kind of telepathy. It does. Maybe it's just like as simple as like telegraph technology as far as telepathy goes, but just like a little bit of charge, like go this way, go this way.
Right. Well, and I didn't even think about how fish would communicate with
Pineapple.
each other. You
Yeah,
know,
they go in one area.
it's crazy.
The waggle dance.
That waggle dance.
Pheromone. Well, what's pheromone? I mean, that's your body putting in something else to smell where it's going.
Yeah. Well, I had read that as far as like birds, and I mean, I really did look at both sides of this when I was doing my research. You know, how they could communicate, scientifically accepted. And that's what it was saying was scent. I don't know. It's just I just think there's so much more to it.
Yep. It probably is so simple that I'm probably overthinking it.
Yeah.
Like Bristol's talking about vibration being everything, or somebody said it, or Lucy.
Oh,
Lucy's
Candy.
Mimi. Yeah.
Candy said it. Yeah.
That's what they tell you whenever you try to manifest anything is their vibration, the frequency.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's when, right. Well, and when Mike Ricksecker was on, that's what he talked about, is that we are frequency and vibration. You know, energy, frequency, and vibration.
I'm all about manifesting and angel numbers these days.
You
I think
know,
there's a lot to it.
I had a time here recently, and it just stopped in, I want to say, the earlier weeks of December. But every time I looked at a clock or anything, it was always either 11:11, 12:12, or 2:22. And 2:22 still comes up pretty frequently for me.
Yeah, that's a good one. That means you're in the right place, doing the right thing.
Oh, yay. Yay. I love it here. So
yeah, 22 means you're on the right path. You're in the right place for your time. My college apartment, everything I had back in the day, everything come out to 122 or 22. My college apartment number was 122. And then one day, one of my coworkers quit, which would have caused all the responsibility after hours to fall on me. And I had like a mild freak out. And so I just left and went riding around. I ended up at a building 122. So I was like, okay, that's what it is. So I turned back around and went back to work. And a couple months later, I got the job I have now, which is amazing. So it all worked out. So you got to trust it. You got to trust them, and you got to research what they are. Don't just like, I think when people see 444 all the time and things like that, oh, it's an angel number. What does that mean? But you got to really go a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah, it's all about, I mean, every topic that we go over within this community of people has to be researched. You can't, because you're going to hear all kinds of things from all different kinds of people, all different kinds of walks of life. You have to do your own homework.
Do you ever have mediums on that try to cold call you or cold read you?
No, actually, no. When we had Vincent and Jenna on earlier last year, God, that's crazy to say last year. Anyways, Wayne had told him, if you see anything or sense anything from either one of us, just let us know. So, I mean, it's, he had told Wayne a couple things and he told me a couple things, but other than that, that's really all we have.
Yeah, I used to be really excited to have mediums on. I still have them if I can find one, but I just worry because the stuff they give you is the real. I guess people forgot that in the late 90s and early 2000s, that was a huge scam. The cold reading, they get Chris, whatever his name was, Chris Stewart. South Park even made fun of it.
Yeah. And
just you start seeing it, and they almost sense the people who are more vulnerable, and they try to like go after them. No, it's all going to be okay. I know you're having a rough time, and they just start crying. Like, I just do it'll be all right. And I'm like, what, dude? And they never come to me because I'm sitting there like, what?
Yeah.
I've had more than one just pass right over me. I'm like, I don't have nothing. I've got nothing.
Zip.
Nope. The loud, boisterous one that's looking like this doesn't get a reading.
Yeah.
And I'm not a skeptic. I'm cautious. And I'm not a skeptic of stuff. But when I sense it, I sense it hard.
Right. your own intuition saying no.
That cold reading, I've watched it too many times. I'm like, oh, that's just too easy. And then
Yeah,
you do it more than a couple of times, and you just turn into a master of it. You don't even have, you can get on YouTube and learn how to do it in an afternoon.
exactly. And there are so many, not to get off the Bigfoot thing, but there are so many.
It's all together. It's all the Bigfoot thing.
Well, yeah, true.
We can talk about
But
dinosaurs, Bigfoot.
dinosaurs, that's a whole nother topic too, because of all the dinosaur bones that they, found recently.
Keep going. I got one for you on the bones.
Do what?
I said, keep going on what you're saying. I got one for you on the bones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's so many of the psychic mediums on TikTok, and a lot of them, like we had Luna and oh my gosh, I forgot his name. Roland. That's what his name was. Nolan, that was his name. And she'll do the paid readings, but there are so many other ones who, if you go on to, when you scroll the video, and it's just like, I'm going free readings to whoever I feel like I'm drawn to. And these rooms are like super full. It's crazy.
I liked watching it and seeing what happens, but then eventually, most of the time, you start hearing that telltale them trying to make somebody cry, and that's how they make their money. And I had a few, because I think my building at work is haunted, and we've had a few actual instances. I probably told you about this, and you read it in that story, the article about they all say children are there, which could be just a telltale, could be just a go-to thing for unknown, because everybody's scared of ghost kids.
Yeah,
but that's what they all say, though. I think it may be that, but like they all say, yeah, there seems to be a lot of kids there. They're friendly. Like, whoa.
Yeah, but demons will also come to you in the form of children.
Yep.
Because they want, you're more vulnerable to children. It's like the black-eyed kids.
That's a different story.
Oh,
those things are terrifying.
They're awful. So awful.
What I was going to tell you about the bone thing, it's an interesting little, it came to me one time about how the what's the big thing that everybody brings up when you bring up is Bigfoot real? Where are the bodies?
Yeah,
where's the body? But then the only evidence they had that maybe Bigfoot is real is a jawbone of a Gigantopithecus.
Right.
So there's no evidence of this thing they think was the replacement. And so if one bone in all of human history is all you've got of what may or may not be this creature, how do you, it's almost like they're barking up the different side of the same tree. Like, we have it. We've got a jawbone of it. It's got to be what Bigfoot was. But where's the bones of Bigfoot? Well, you've got it in your hand. The only one we have left.
Right.
That you found at a Chinese buffet 56 years ago. I mean, it's a lot of science. A lot like Troy is talking about the Bible and science. A lot of it answers each other's questions, but everybody's so tied up in the moral part of it that they forget that it's actually explaining the whys are explained to each other's back and forth.
Yeah.
Like I had a guy who was a staunch atheist tell me a few years ago, like 10 or 15 years ago, that he hopes that an asteroid destroys Earth to prove all the Christians wrong. I said, dude, the end of that book says the world's going to be destroyed in fire. I mean, you just answered your own question. I mean, it's all there. It's all there. And it's frustrating. I'm like, they don't. It's not contradictory. It's the reason.
Right.
Like it's all the same. Like I don't think that humans evolved like. I don't think that it stood up from a pile of dirt and became us. I think that we did evolve, and that's the way it works. That's the way things happen. And I don't think it goes against God to say we evolved from something. I mean, somebody probably get mad at me, but
well, again, we
don't know how it works.
All the hate emails. Yeah. Bobby doesn't cast at you.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't God use evolution to make things? I mean, he made the earth 4 billion years ago.
We could get into that conversation because
I mean, I'm okay with both of them.
Yeah, my opinion differs from yours, but that is what
mine's the same as yours too, because I'm okay with any of them.
Yeah,
I'm not anti or pro. I'm Catholic, for God's sakes. I'm not to Columbus. I make pancakes on Sundays. I'm just saying I'm okay with it being an explanation if it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it. I don't think it. I don't think it disproves it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's just everything just is intertwined with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But people
Crazily.
Yes. But people, they cherry pick what they want it to be and what they
Mm-hmm.
don't want it to be. And if somebody had said to them what I just said to you, I disagree with you. It is like the world is over.
You son of a bitch.
Like,
Take my headphones off. This is over.
I'm leaving the show. How
I'm
dare
leaving the
you
show. How dare you? I'm okay if it came out that Earth was 6,000 years old and that's the way it happened. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm both sides. I think they're both as interesting. I know that we have that the way we measure things is like going to Atlanta, and I'm stealing this from these guys here, Rick and Bubba. But Bubba always does this thing about how they measure carbon dating is like going to Atlanta and flipping a 12-inch ruler all the way to Birmingham and saying that's how far away it is. That's what carbon dating is. So we don't know. I mean, by the time with the standard deviation of 4 billion years could be 10,000 for all we know.
Yeah. Well, and it's like time and space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
is it constant? We don't know.
Yeah. Time is for us what grounds us, but outside of this dimension, there isn't any time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not like we can go to the woods and say, okay, well, Bigfoot's going to be here for dinner, 6:30 on the nose. They don't know time. They don't grasp having to be somewhere at a certain time.
Nope.
I think if we looked at things maybe in a more primal way, like they would have to see it. It's like when they brought up the horse theory, people going in on horseback instead of cars and call blasting and, go back to the Native Americans, we may have a better chance of seeing something.
And the best footage we have is with the spring-loaded camera.
Yeah.
And everybody's first thing they go to is that, well, everybody's got a phone in their pocket. Well, everybody's got a digital recorder in their pocket that can be instantly zapped by anything in that particular realm. But you start hanging out with the movie Nope. Like, my cup's got Nope on it. I don't know why. It's a sloth. I found it in the cabinet. But you know how the ending of Nope is, it has that spring camera. He gets the perfect picture of it. That's like answering Patterson-Gimlin right there.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think if people, and when I was looking today, Native Americans said that they use telepathy with them all the time. So it's like, if you want to get back to your grassroots with us, and everybody wants to follow kind of the Native American theories and all this other stuff because they were put on the wall, they experienced them, but they just want to dismiss everything.
I like about the Native Americans Bigfoot encounters is it draw all the same.
Yeah.
It's all the big red monster from Bugs Bunny with like shoulders and maybe a little bump for a head. Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that red guy. Yes.
I swear that's what they draw in the caves. It's the same thing. I don't know if it's not inspired by it.
You know what? This is true. I'd never thought about that before.
Look, it's the same. It's the dude.
They
shave him and he's all hair.
And then he's got the little black and white tennis shoes on. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. So how do you feel about the cloaking of Bigfoot? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think they can do it. I've heard, Zeus Pratt has a picture of one doing it. And so does another fellow, David Parker. His may be less, but if it's not a Bigfoot standing there that's kind of in the cloaking phase, it's the perfect limb formation.
Right.
Because he sent it to you. I'm like, that's crazy. Because it just looks, I don't know. Gossamer. Yeah, it is Gossamer.
Yeah, that's what his name is.
But I think if they can do any of the other things we talked about, cloaking is right there with them. It's in the package.
Well, see, I agree. So some videos I've seen, they almost look like the predator. You know how the
Mhm.
predator's like
Yeah, that's what they
clear.
say.
But then if you, yeah, like shimmer faced. But then if you think, okay, is there something with their hair that allows them to do that
Mhm.
as well? Like their hair, in certain ways, the sun comes up or the sun's going down.
That's some of the things people talk about with the blurry photos too, because they
Mhm.
have the clear. It's like a polar bear. You know how a polar bear's hair is clear,
Yeah.
but everybody thinks it's white. Like, are their hair like a weird? What's the word? Mandula?
Yeah,
Is that
because it
what it's
doesn't
called?
have it's the medulla,
Yeah,
that inner shaft. It doesn't have it.
yeah. And it's clear. It doesn't have that in the middle of it. So that's
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I'll go this just like I was talking about the creationism versus evolution or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Those two things, I would be okay if the Bigfoot turned out to be like a really specialized animal and they just evolved crazy good stuff. And
Right.
they could, they had the good mandula, I can't say mandula, the mandula effect.
Medulla. You're thinking
Mandula.
about the
Yeah.
Mandela.
Mandula oblongata makes the alligators mad. But like I'd be okay if it was the caves and they had cloaking and they had echolocation.
Hmm.
It'd make it cool. I mean, I think like the rule of thumb is technology advanced enough is indistinguishable from magic. And so
Right.
what's to say that them evolving like they did in that completely other direction doesn't
Hmm.
make them seem magic to us?
Right.
Because it's just vibration, like Rista was saying, or Candy was saying.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say they didn't just get really good at it? And that's what we can't. And who's to say we can't do it because of our calcified pineal gland? 200
Right.
years ago, we could talk to God in a bush.
Well, and I think, and it's like we talked about before on Messenger, we have grown up and been, for lack of better terms, brainwashed
Mhm.
to believe a certain narrative. And when we step out of the bounds of this narrative, things go sideways.
I'm trying to find this picture he sent me. It was crazy.
Well, so Troy
You want-
wants to know, does the metaphysical aspect explain why there are no bones?
Well, here's the thing. Now that we're off the deep end, let's dive all the way in. I was talking to Jason McLean. I'm not taking credit for this hypothesis / theory at all.
Mm-hmm.
But Jason McLean, he's a really cool Bigfoot author. I recommend looking him up. He shows the comparison between the Fae, the fairies, and the
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot lore, how they're the exact same. How you would knock on wood to appease the
Mm-hmm.
Fae, and what's a tree knock? You're knocking on wood.
True.
Crap, what was I talking about? Metaphysical explains
Uh-huh.
no bones. Okay, so when you get a gift from the fairies, whether it be gold or whatever they give you, it turns into a leaf
Mm-hmm.
or wood bark on the ground after the fairy goes away, doesn't need it. So what Bigfoot bodies, they may come in and use them and then just shed them as soon as they leave, turns into a pile of leaves.
That's crazy to think
Yeah,
about
and if
that.
like what if they don't need it? What if they don't have to take the bodies back? They just come in, they summon all the elements, like they just use what's there. They just manifest and they don't have
Yeah.
bodies on the other side. And I mean, but the Fey legend says they just leave it stuff away.
Huh.
What area of the country? I am from east side of Manhattan, just down from the East River. You can tell by my accent. I'm a Brooklyn boy. I go Jets.
Lies.
Fibs. These are all fibs. I'm from North Alabama. I'm from North Alabama. If you can't tell. Yeah.
But I never. Candy said you're making her think.
Yeah, the Fae thing freaked me out when I heard it because it gave me these weird chills, and it could be all the caffeine I drink, but like the stories are the exact same. It's insane. The knock on wood, the way they hide, I'd have to go look at some more, but the fact that whenever they give you something, an offering to appease you, it turns into leaves. And
See, I never put those two together.
I didn't either until he told me, but he was reading off all the stuff and he goes, that's not Bigfoot, that's Fae, but it's the same thing. It was the same thing.
You're like,
It's the same legend. It's the same thing through all history is Bigfoot legends and Fae legends. It's the
Yeah,
same
see,
thing.
I'm gonna have to look into that now.
It'll freak you out a little bit.
Yeah, now I'm like super curious about that because fairies have always been like my favorite thing. Like you have Bigfoot and then fairies are like so close to Bigfoot, it's crazy.
There's also the weird phenomenon that he was telling me about that we never knew nobody ever saw a gray alien until they reported it in the TV, and then everybody started seeing them. It was like a tulpa almost.
Right.
That whatever's coming across is fitting what we think they're supposed to see. That's
Troy said Dr. Barenshot can expand on that. Well, I'm highly interested.
Yeah, I mean it's I was like flabbergasted to say the least. I was like, what? Tell me it's like the same things.
Yeah. So let me ask
you. It should make a lot of sense.
Well, I mean, and it would. And that kind of segues into this because I was reading this today and I was like, I don't know how many people I've heard get on this train. Okay. I read, can they transmigrate appearing into our existence as something else? So like if they came in as a snake instead of a Sasquatch, would it be possible for them to do that? And I'm like, I've never heard anybody say that.
Yeah, well, we don't know. I mean, that just might be all those weird little cryptids we see.
Yes.
They may just I mean, what's a Dogman? What's a Puckwudgie?
Oh my God. Oh, I know the little Puckwudgies.
Yeah.
I wrote about them. I threw them in my Unfamiliars book that I wrote, the little Puckwudgies.
I love the Puckwudgie.
Yeah, I had to include them.
Them in their little Sonic the Hedgehog hair.
Yes. Yeah, it's there's just a whole big bag. And that's why I was so excited to come on tonight and just like, I'll just empty out the whole bag because I'm here for it.
Carson just spelled it all out right there. They all come from the same place.
Yeah.
There's probably just a whole little superhighway over there. They come over here and mess with us.
And then go back.
Go over there and get that peanut butter, man. They'll be smoking their peace pipe. I mean, I could go for a peanut butter and an apple right now. Go, dude, put on that monkey suit and go get that peanut butter and apple. They'll never believe you.
Right. Nobody will ever know you were.
They're over there eating daycare snacks.
Yeah.
They're chopping up apple slices of peanut butter.
It is
really always leaving us lollipops. We can't get nothing healthy. Michelle Obama's pissed off at these gifting areas. Nothing's ever healthy over. Give us some carrot sticks.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's why they never come back. They never get anything healthy.
That is.
Who was it? Matt Fisher from Mostly Ghostly was talking to somebody about getting them hooked on crack. He said, then you got Bigfoot stealing DVDs and car stereos, trying to get back, wearing cargo pants, trying to get their fix.
That's funny.
I don't know how ethical that would be.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is just a whole avenue of wild.
And but I think the more you flesh it out, the less you could think they can be 100% flesh and blood.
That's
no pun
exactly
intended. That's
exactly what I was going to say. Nope, you took the words right out of my mouth. I think no, you're good. I think it needs to be talked about more. And I think it's a shame that people don't talk about it.
Well, the reason it's not investigated is because all science is funded by universities.
Yeah.
And that's the reason, like, you get people like not that aren't rich. I want to say poor, but like people like you and me, then that have these little groups and associations, and we have Amazon grade equipment.
Yeah.
And we get evidence. I mean, you're gonna you throw your line out there long enough, you're gonna get some kind of a bite, but we don't have like a super hadron collider to go to the fourth dimension and actually see one.
Exactly.
And they may have one under Area 51, like a tribe of Bigfoot. They may be able to summon them in and whenever they want to, but we don't know.
So I think that
crack more Bigfoot.
Nice, Naoma.
Bigfoot stole my catalytic converter off my Tundra.
She's so funny. She's hilarious. Oh, but what I was gonna say is I think no, it's never too inappropriate, Naima. You
Keep
are
it up.
with friends, so you are good.
My
But I
people.
think until one of these hardcore skeptics on the woo, on the science side, until they experience something on the woo side, I think it's
I've
it's
heard
just
that
gonna
they
be
have before,
really
and they can't say it on TV because it just ruins their credibility.
true. There is that
Like
aspect.
nobody that does anything in depth with them at any level, like spends any time out there, thinks they're just flesh and blood.
Yeah.
After a
I mean,
certain amount of time, they say we're not saying that they're supernatural, but things happen, and it is what it is. It's what I've heard. It's what I've been told, like officially.
mhm.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't say it's not, but it does things. Things happen.
Right, exactly. I mean, let's look at all the encounters that you hear and have heard.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wayne's done this way longer than I've done this, but I mean, just in the almost 6 months that I've done this, I mean, all the encounters that we have heard as well. It's like these people, and when we did the psychology of that, that is the first thing that Emma said. She said, not everybody can be lying about this. It
Nope.
is not, it is not feasible.
It's almost like the Apollo. They say how many people can cover it up.
Yeah.
Those
I mean,
same
'cause
the same people say the same thing about Bigfoot.
Yeah, because you got to think, I mean, it's not just happening in the US. I mean, you got the Yowie in Australia, the what
Everywhere.
is it?
The Orang Pendek.
Yeah, and then is it the Yeren in? I can't remember what country that's in.
Yeah.
My brain just went.
Oh,
But yeah, they're everywhere.
Barnaby Jones knows.
Yeah, that was a good interview you did with Barnaby Jones. Y'all need to go check that out.
That guy was a class act. I was like, why are you on my show? What are you doing here?
China. Thank you, Naoma. China. Yes, the Yeren from China.
Yeah.
Yeah, and something got brought up on the interview you did with Barnaby too about what is it? I can't think of the name. Is it like Bat Squatch or like Mothman?
Moth Squatch.
Moth
One
Squatch.
that flew around.
Yeah. Could you
got
enlighten
Sasquatch, Yowie, Yeti, Skookum, Skunk Ape, Grassman, Wildman, Yahoo, Yeren, Orang Pendek, Momo, and Hairy Man.
Yeah. It's
Momo.
Momo.
from YouTube in 2016. Momo.
Oh, I remember that. Momo. Yeah, no.
The flying Sasquatch thing was crazy because they saw it land in a field and it stood there.
Yeah.
Where the hell did that come from?
And like, why is that a thing now?
You see it? Wood booger.
Yeah.
My TikTok hat I found. They call them boogers down here.
Do they?
Mm-hmm. That's what Roger and the woodwalkers all call them, is boogering.
Mm-hmm. So where do we go with the Moth Squatch now?
I think you file it over there with all those other weird ones, the elementals.
Yeah, we're just gonna put it on this shelf over here.
I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, Mothman, wherever they're coming from, they just like random little things can make weird combinations, and it's like Imagination Land on South Park.
So then you're like, okay, what how did that even happen?
Yeah.
Like, did a Sasquatch, was it feeling frisky and it hooked up with the moth woman?
Yeah. Maybe it's like a creepy crawler set. They can just choose they can build their own little costume and see what happens.
Crazy.
I mean, at this point, like they're seeing all the stuff pop up at Skinwalker Ranch, different forms. They've seen the table full of dogmen playing poker.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I mean, Travis Taylor talked about him. Travis Walton, for the record, did not say anything about those.
The Waltons, no.
Just pissed everybody off.
Yeah, because then you got to throw the dogmen in there too, and
yeah. Why are dogmen always vicious, but Bigfoot aren't?
Right. Exactly. And it's
Never
baffling
a
to me.
fun Dogman.
No. And it's baffling to me because I was on a message board yesterday, I think it was, and it was a picture of this tree that was turned upside down and the root ball was sticking up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've seen them. And I was like, well, I've heard that both Bigfoot and Dogman do that. And this girl came on there and she was like, can you explain to me what a Dogman is? I've never heard of it. Like, why are people? Yeah.
She better take off work.
I know. I was like, yeah, I was like, there's different variations for everybody that you talk to. So it really just depends on who you talk to. However, they share these similar attributes. So I listed those, but I was like, otherwise, I don't,
Jessica's got keychains with Dogman, German Shepherd wearing Afghanistan Army battle rattle. It's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's her. I think it's her background. But she gave everybody out keychains at one point. I think I keep one in my truck. It's what is that? I'm like, you wouldn't get it. just look how cool it looks and move on. We're not going to explain that on the way to lunch at work.
Exactly. Well, because that opens a whole nother door, doesn't it? Do our Dogman soldiers for, it's so much.
See, my coworker, her mom is a ghost hunter and she's experienced stuff with her mom, including dealing with a demon, like in real time. And this girl's legit. She's my age and she's not lying about the stuff she saw. Like you can't deal with her 99% of the time. And then that one time, well, she's full of shit. Like, no, she's real. And people come to us in our IT office and tell us about stuff in their house that happened. Like I gave a girl, a lady today, 2 of my motion sensing cat balls because she said her house was haunted.
Right.
And like she said, she took a rifle scope, the FLIR from a rifle scope, and saw a man in a closet.
Wow.
Yeah, and
hooked on out of there.
We made a joke that we're going to start calling our IT office RAPS, Redstone Arsenal Paranormal Society, instead of TAPS, because people just come down like they see my wall of like I keep like magnets people give me, and I got Seinfeld and I got Bigfoot footprints, just random shit. Yeah, and they're like, "What are you guys into this kind of thing?" And like, yeah, and somebody will say, "Yeah, Kate's mom fought a demon in Kentucky." What? And it turns into campfire stories at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. That's
hilarious.
People will just stay down there. First time the coworkers hear about that, like at lunch or something, and Kate tells a story, they're like, "Are you serious?" Yeah, and because they knew Kate for like a week, and like she's not crazy, she's normal, she's a mother. And all of a sudden you hear that come out of her mouth, like, fuck. You see like the little paradigm shift at that little level.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I live for it. I'm sitting there eating my French fries. Like, look at them. They believe it.
Yeah.
I see them changing. Watching that paradigm shift like a gear in a Honda Civic.
That is so funny. Well, look, see, the hour has flown by.
That's what I do.
An hour. Yeah. So, but let's save some for part 2.
Yep.
And we'll have Mr. Wayne come back on when he's not at his basketball game.
He's going to be out of breath walking back.
Huh?
I said he'll be out of breath walking back from that basketball stadium. It's way down there in the holler.
That's funny. But yeah, I've enjoyed having you on, and you can tell everybody where they can find you and get in touch with you if they want to, be on your show too.
Oh yeah, I do. I do a couple shows a week. I think I'm only broadcasting one live a week because I'm trying to get on more shows like this. But on Sunday nights, I usually air one or do a live over bobbydizzle.com, YouTube right there on the website. And I do iTunes and iHeartRadio and Spotify. It's all there, which reminds me, I need to upload one from this weekend. That's beside the point. Yeah. Check me out, bobbydizzle.com. And it's the Caffeinated Cryptid. You see that here. You can look at it's on YouTube. It's all there. But yeah, if you want to be on, just hit me up on my Facebook. It's all there on my website and message me. I'll take any and all comers. We'll talk like this for hours.
Yeah.
Until I have to go to the restroom. That's when the show ends.
All right. When that coffee hits.
Yeah, like, excuse me, this show is over. I gotta go. Unless you're in the middle of a story and I turn my camera off and I go disappear. I'll be like, no, keep talking.
I might not be here, but everybody else is here. That's
Oh
hilarious.
yeah, it's been fun though. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. And I look forward to having you back on for part 2, February 24th. I know it seems a ways away, but as fast as these years and months go by, it'll be here tomorrow. So
it could be a part 4, 5, and 6 for all we know.
You never know. I mean,
I'm hard to get rid of. I'm
that's
very
why
hard
we
to get rid of.
Yeah, the next show. That's why we planned it for a Saturday, because we can go over that hour. So.
Oh yeah. Might pop a top. Thanks,
Yep.
Troy.
Absolutely.
Bristol's one of my regulars.
Yeah. He's a good dude too. We have the greatest community.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute greatest. Couldn't ask for a better.
Nope.
But yes. So I do appreciate you coming on, and we will look forward to your part 2.
All right, yeah, and Wayne's coming on my show soon too, so I'll be big amalgamation of content.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all stay tuned for the big amalgamation of content.
Yep, just a big glob of stuff.
All righty. Well, we will talk with you later, and thank you again for coming.
All right.
That was amazing. Always good times with Bobby. I know it would be a great show. Never doubted it. He did kind of give me a little bit of a heart attack because I hadn't heard from him, and I'd sent him the link twice, but we were all good. We were all good. So thank you all for coming, and I appreciate your support. And Wayne will be back here. We have a show Saturday, the 6th, with Les Durant. So that should be interesting. So that one starts at 10 p.m. Eastern. So come back here for that one, and we'll see you then. Thank you.